What up, gang of language? Carolina Jackpot time, checking in. It is Friday morning, and we got college football this weekend. Shit, it's been a busy week for everybody, crazy week. But don't let the nuttiness of the 2020 presidential election distract you from the fact that we got some good football games going on this weekend, and Carolina Jackpot's picks against the spread. Hadn't gotten that one up yet. This afternoon or early this evening, okay? I want to get those out in front of the Friday night games that we got this week, and certainly some intriguing stuff going on. I got like a record number of games that I've got on the docket to pick this week, so I want to get into that. But anyway, I wanted to talk just a minute about Saturday night. First off, Gamecocks at home versus Texas A&M. So the Gamecocks opened as an 8-point underdog on Sunday in this ball game, and since then the line has shifted to the Gamecocks catching 10 at home against Texas A&M. Just giving you my thoughts on this game, and I'm not being biased here at all. When I do these breakdowns, I generally try to talking facts, and then if it's a trash talking type video, like what I'm asking, what the hell is an Aggie or whatever, it'll be in a different tone. But just looking at this game, to me, this doesn't match up well for South Carolina. We're 2-3 coming in, right? We have been outgained by every team that we've played, not named Vanderbilt. That also includes, the big win at home against Auburn, the big earth-shattering upset is what everybody's calling it. The big upset over Auburn at home. They outgained us like South Carolina didn't even have 300 yards in that game. And we took advantage of turnovers, which is good that we're able to force them. But hell, I mean, are we going to be able to do that every week? A&M much more talented on offense than any team that we've played this year, other than Florida. Yes, they're more talented on offense than LSU is. I hate to tell you people. That game was just an absolute shit show on wheels. There was no excuse for that horrible defensive performance at that LSU game by South Carolina. In any other year, I honestly do. And even though I feel like they've been really lax in pulling the punches on Will Muschamp down there in Columbia, the administration has, any other year, I honestly think there would have been a good chance that him and that staff would have been let go. Well, not the staff. I mean, you got to have a staff. Like, he would have been let go after that game if it wasn't 2020. Because the defensive performance there was just horrific. Our offense is what it is. It's a ball control offense. They've got a quarterback running it who he knows the offense. He knows what to do. He knows the scheme. He knows the playbook. But the thing that he doesn't know he's not a mobile quarterback. He's a statue. This guy's going to stand back there. He's going to take a lot of sacks, which we've seen him do. And Texas A&M is a team that produces a lot of sacks. They produced 10 sacks in their last 2 games. Just throwing that out there. But that doesn't match up well either. The defense for us is just the thing I cannot get past. I can't get past how terrible it's played all year. I mean, they've been horrible against everybody except Vanderbilt, and that's a wash, because hell, everybody beats Vanderbilt. There are probably some really good high school teams this year out in Texas or somewhere that could probably give Vanderbilt a run for their money. Real talk. That's not anything to beat your chest over. I did beat my chest over it in a video on here, though, just to troll people. But I don't see this matchup going well for us. I don't think that Will Muschamp has done enough in the off week and the bye week, whatever you want to call it, that that you're going to be able to see a marked difference between this team and the team that went out there and absolutely got their brains bashed in by LSU a couple of weeks ago. I just don't see it. I don't see it. There's something wrong there. There's a funk going on with that defense, a fungus, if you will, that's kind of running through it. They've got good players on that defense. I don't know why we're giving up so many yards, while we're having so many missed tackles, while we are, not putting pressure on the quarterback. But that's what I'm seeing. And until that gets fixed, I'm not laying any points with the Gamecocks. I'm not picking them to cover the spread, and I will definitely not pick them to win any games that they're not supposed to win. This is a game they're not supposed to win. They're underdogs for a reason. Texas A&M coming in, they're ranked number 7. That's a farce. Okay, that's a farce. They've won 4 games. They beat Florida. Okay, that was great. Okay, I predicted that one too, by the way. They beat Florida. Who else do you beat? They beat Vanderbilt, that juggernaut that I was talking about that could lose to a high school team by 5 points. 5 fucking points. Okay, anyway, you slice it and dice it, you beat them by 5 fucking points at home when you were a 30-point favorite. That's garbage. Okay, they beat Arkansas. Wonderful. They beat Mississippi State. Woohoo! And who else? Who else did they beat? That's it, ain't it? Yeah, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida, and Vandy. That's not impressive. I mean, that's not even, that's and Alabama, they had their way with you. I did think it was impressive that they got up on you 14-0, and you came back and tied them up at 14. That showed a little bit of moxie, I guess is the operative word, but still, the end result was the same. It was a 52-24, and they just drilled you. But Alabama drills everybody, so it's okay. It's okay to get beat by them that bad. Anyway, A&M is not a number 7 team in the country. I think they're probably a top 15 team. They're not a top 7 team, a top 5 team, whatever. People are calling them a contender for the college football playoff. It's absolutely laughable. The SEC West is terrible this year, and you just happen to be the next best team, probably behind Alabama. All right. Alabama, normally, in normal years, they are up the cream of the crop up there in the SEC West. Last year it happened to be LSU, and they were right on their heels. But normally Alabama's right there, and somebody else is right on their heels, whether it be LSU or it be Auburn. This year, yeah, in theory you're right on their heels, but you're not in the level to be that legitimate second place lock that could make it to the college football playoff if things go right in the SEC championship game, and whatever happens there. But I don't see it. I think Cincinnati right now, the Power 5 or Group of 5 team right now, it's probably a better team. The Texas A&M, there's a lot of teams out there that are better teams than Texas A&M. I think Florida's probably a better team than you, even though they lost to you. I get that, but I'm not seeing it. But anyway, I don't think the Gamecocks beat you Saturday night. I think that Texas A&M will cover that spread in that game and probably win that game anywhere in the neighborhood of 14 to 17 points. I think the Gamecocks will play tough for a while and then hang around, but then the defense will get gassed in the second half. They just will. There's some people on the Las Vegas podcast I listen to sometimes. They're picking Gamecocks to cover. I don't see it. I don't see how you make your living in Vegas picking shit like that. It's obvious you don't watch. A lot of these guys, they don't watch these teams play. They just look at trends and they look at box scores, I think, and that's what They do. One of them was talking about the LSU game. He said that the score of it was a little bit deceptive because LSU had some big plays early that we couldn't come back from, because our offense isn't built to come back when it gets behind. Which he's right there. He's right there. It's not, but LSU didn't have big plays early to bury us. They jammed the ball down our freaking throat on the first drive of the game. They held the ball for 8 minutes and ran like 16 or 17 plays and absolutely crammed it down the Gamecock's throat. And hell, no, there weren't big plays. Again, big plays happened towards the middle to the end of the game. Those are the ones that solidly buried the Gamecocks, but it wasn't at the beginning of the game. So, factually inaccurate there. But 14, 17 points, I say, is the final in that one. I would say score something in the neighborhood of 38-21, maybe. I mean, it could be as bad as like 42-21. I don't see us playing well there. I mean, quite honestly, I think if we win one more game this year, I think that might be the move. I think we may end up 3-7. Because the way Ole Miss is playing offensively, that's another team that I could see us getting behind 14 points early and just not being able to come back from. Because we're just not built that way. Because our defense has been playing so horrible that they're going to allow a team to get out in front of you. They're just going to. The only thing the Gamecocks can do is strike first. And, you're continuously flipping the field back because our offense is just, it's vanilla. It's a decent offense if it's ran correctly, but I don't know if it's all necessarily been run correctly this year. So that's my thoughts on that one. Taters at Notre Dame. Real quick on that one. DJ Ukulele making his first road start last week, brings them back from a 28-10 deficit at home against Boston College. I don't know if it speaks more to the fact that you were able to come back from that deficit, shut them down in the second half, and get that win. I don't know if that speaks more volumes about your program at this point, or if the fact that you were behind to a team that is that much inferior to you, 28-10, speaks volumes about your program at this point. I'm not really sure. But, Ukulele did what he had to do, threw for almost 400 yards, and he had a Trevor Lawrence-like performance. So, you go on the road this week, and this is the one where a classic spot when I'm picking these games and looking at them, I call this one the salty tater spot. This is the salty tater. Do not, and I repeat, I've gotten burned by it in the past before too. Do not pick against the Taters as far as the spread goes, and as far as straight up goes in these type ball games against teams that are ranked high. Whether they deserve to be ranked there or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that they are ranked there, because anytime Clemson is playing a top 10 opponent, top 15 opponent, something like that, there's always the chatter of, well, can they knock them off? Can this team make it the ACC championship game or whatever? And then they get offended, they get salty, and then the little old Clemson crap comes back up. Well, we're just little old Clemson down here, and they feel like they have to protect their turf, and they come around and they just bitch slap these teams, because quite honestly, some of these teams just aren't very good. Notre Dame is, to me, there's one of these teams I like to call a wet fart. They're a wet fart. They're boring to watch. They are a wet fart team is a team that normally wins and usually has a really good record or a decent record. But they're just, to me, just boring to watch. They play a slower down, old man version of football. The Gamecocks offense is kind of a wet fart offense. But they're not really good either. We don't really win most of our games. And, watching the other team whether it be at LSU or whoever run up and down the field on us, makes it kind of a little bit more exciting, I guess. So I don't know if you would really place that fully in the wet fart category, but Notre Dame is a wet fart. Their quarterback is a good game manager. He's a smart quarterback. He's savvy. He doesn't have that big NFL type arm. He's not going to make 50, 55-yard throws down the field. It's just not. And I don't think that they have the speed or the talent on the outside to really take the top off the Tater defense, even though it's kind of banged up. That Tater defense is kind of banged up. So that could be concerning. That could be concerning for them. But we too deep, right? We too deep. We too deep. We got 5 stars in every position, 4 and 5 stars. We stack them up like cordwood over here. It don't matter if that 5-star decommitted. We just get another one in his place, right? Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's y'all's moniker. Too deep. So it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if you're missing any stars. And if you do happen to lose this game, I won't hear any Clemson fan crying about being out of Trevor Lawrence or any of these defensive starters being out in this game. I just don't want to hear about it. But that being said, I don't think that Notre Dame is going to be able to move the ball effectively on the Taters. And I think Clemson will get their points. I think you'll get held to your lowest yardage total and point total of the season. I do. I don't think you'll get over 30 points, not much over 30 points if you get over 30 points. It could be in the high 20s. I heard a prediction of 27-17 the other day. I mean, that seems fair. I don't know that Notre Dame will score 17, but they could. I'm leaning more towards I'm leaning more towards like a 24-10 type game. I really am, where Clemson dominates on the stat line, even though they don't put up the gaudy yardage numbers that they normally would. I still think they'll dominate the stat line and take care of business against Notre Dame. They haven't, and this is another a version of the who have they played. On Uncle Lou's channel, I like to talk about who have they played. And, Lou talks about who have they played doesn't really matter. Well, sometimes who they have played does matter. Notre Dame has not exactly faced a murderer's row. I mean, you beat Duke, South Florida, Florida State, who's not very good. Louisville, Louisville's not very good this year. They're probably the most disappointing team in the ACC. I would have to say, hands down, they're the most disappointing team in the ACC. And Pitt, another wet fart team, which, you dominated them. So that was a good win. That was probably your best win of the year. The 54-0 shellacking of South Florida was your highest yardage total and all that output of the year. But come on, South Florida. So there you have it. I think that Clemson will be hampered a little bit offensively just by the fact that Notre Dame has a really good defense, but offensively, I think Notre Dame will struggle to move the ball. If Notre Dame had a big boy passing attack, and they were just a little bit more potent and had a couple of speedsters at the wide receiver position and that could maybe take the top off the Taters. Like I said, I would pick this to be much closer, maybe a little bit more high scoring, and I would probably give them a shot to pull this upset off. But I don't see it happening, not with the skill, position talent that they have or lack thereof. So give me the Taters to cover and win, and give me Texas A&M to cover and win in those two matchups on Saturday evening, and I will be tuned in. I'm sure you will as well. All right, guys, I will see you all later on. Picks against the spread coming up sometime later on today. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit it with a thumbs up. and subscribe to the Carolina Jackpot channel if you are not subscribed already, because you do not know what you're missing. I'll see y'all later. Appreciate you. Peace. And I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Spurs up to my toes up, baby. Fire, coach. Boom. Woo!